We got a mobile Scout in here. This is a fifth wheel. So we're going to get rid of all these luggage racks. And look, these are a common problem where they leak like this, you know. But that's that die cord stuff. So all the time we run into these where someone has to put this big tape on here to keep it sealed. So, but you can really see this roof has seen its day. They got every hour out of this one. So this is just cheap rubber, and it oxidizes bad. Let's see how brittle it is. It's just really brittle. I'm barely pulling with 2 fingers. This stuff is thin too. That's the other reason why I hate rubber. And it doesn't matter if it's on an RV or on a commercial application, always oxidizes like this. I used to cringe getting up on roofs that were commercial and that had these rubber roofs on them. You had to do work on them. Gee whiz, everything get filthy. Everything get filthy. So this is a piece of fabric we're gonna put on here and protect the awning. But you can see how it's stressed out. So one, the color is a dead giveaway. The white is already gone. So a lot of times what the RV industry says, hey, put a coating on it, put a coating on it. They don't work. Don't waste your money. We don't do coatings. If they work, I've done a whole bunch of coatings on commercial applications. If they work, I'd be putting them on. And if I could guarantee them, but they will not work. They'll crack and they'll fail. Don't put them on. So another sign is, if you look, I call this eggshelling. When you have a hard-boiled egg and you crack the shell, that's what I call it. Some people call it spidering or spider webbing, or I don't know. But something obviously hit here. So you can see how much booger they put around that vent right there, around that antenna wire. Those leak quite a bit. That's a plus. But if not, it would leak down. There's a rubber boot on there. It would leak down inside the coach and cause a lot of damage. So, but this thing is just that bad. I mean, it's ready to come up. You tear this thing up in a heartbeat, it looks like. Again, more of that Eternabond or roof tape. Eternabond is just a brand name. So we got some rusty screws in there, but they're not terrible. So let's see what's going on under there. Obviously, if there's any rotted or compromised structures in there, we're going to replace those. Some gutters on here. We'll keep them together. And then, so see what we got around the other side. All right. I'm going to free this shoulder up. Should I sneak by it? I don't know if that's possible. Yeah. 2 fat guys trying to get around on 2-foot scaffold. Yeah, kind of giving an overview here. This is all that die cord junk. Just terrible stuff. It really is. What I don't like about die cord or the RV industry in itself is they exploit people's ignorance, and meaning their lack of knowledge, to roof systems. And they keep telling you put more on, more on, more on. And I joke around and say the only one's putting more on is a moron, because, I mean, think about it. I mean, why would you have to do that? If you had a quality product, why would you have to come around every few months and put more on? You don't put more air in your tires every 3 or 4 months. You don't do that, you know. You don't go around your house and caulk your windows every 3 or 4 months. Well, once a year, I think that's smart to do. That's what you do on a commercial end. So, but every few months, nah. They tell you to put a conditioner on it. Then they tell you to put a coating on it. They tell you they just want to stay in your wallet. That's all they want to do. Look at here. They just put this drywall mesh because they got a gap right there. See the gap? It's just supposed to bridge the gap to kind of prevent some of this from sagging in. That's that line you see right there. So we put strips on here. That's what we're going to do. The protective strips, what we call them. Also right here, we'll have a protective strip come down here, so that may possibly be visible up underneath just as a little bump though, but you really need to have it right there to protect the main roof from this aluminum right here, this aluminum shoulder. So, but here's all the condensation coming down. That's what all that is. And then on here, you don't even have any room underneath there. There's a foam gasket way up underneath there. See if I can get that for you. There's a foam gasket way up underneath there. That's all dry. We're going to end up replacing it. But with us putting the curbs on here, those curbs will help elevate this. And when it does, these will run better because they'll be able to drain. And, you know, you're going to end up with pollen and dirt and debris that always gets caught up inside there. Then there's a couple of weep holes up in here and one on the other side, which help it drain. But if if you get all that pollen and dirt and debris up in there, you can't get it to drain properly. So it will drain. It'll drain right back into the coach. So you're not going to stop that. Not unless even when you shut the air off. You know, a lot of times the blowers help push all the water, and then when you shut it off, now it's not getting, the fan isn't pulling the water, and sometimes you'll notice a leak even more when you shut it off. It's because now the water is going back to that weep hole, because sometimes this fan on this condenser part, see, is blowing all the air out, and it sometimes pulls some of that water, and when you shut it down, now the water kind of recedes back, doesn't have that pull on it, and if it does leak, it may leak inside. So that doesn't mean that you have an issue. It means you probably got a bad gasket. Obviously, you got an air conditioning leak issue with around the base or something, as a rule. So, like I said, we don't like these here. These are all coming off, and then we'll make special boots for the ladder right here. Put the curves up, refrigerator base. We'll make a new one for that. And then, but this is, like I said, this is really got. Look at this here. I've just been walking around this a little bit. Look at that. Is terrible. You know, you try to come up here and wash this thing, you get filthy, absolutely filthy. And rubber shrinks. See, when you go around some of these windows and you look at them, you'll see some of the windows that have the rubber gasket in there, it'll be shrunk. And that's because it's EPDM rubber. So when it shrinks, it's like taking a rubber band and going all the way across to the other side. So it's got tension on it. And then when you get a rip, that's why when it rips like a big rip. It doesn't just rip. So the TPO that we use is a structured membrane. There's a piece of it right here. These are some of our, what I call my protector strips. This is the same product. This is the same roofing. It's the same exact roofing. The roofing comes in a 10-foot wide roll. The coach isn't 10-foot wide, so when we cut the slack off the bottom, when we trim it down so it looks nice and clean, and we'll put them across here instead of this tape. We put it there, but this is structured. You can see there's a weave in here. See if I can show. See that weave? You can see these little squares. Let me get the light just right here. You can see the little squares in there. That's a mesh that's built in there, and here's some of it hanging out. See that little bit right there? That's hanging out. Here's another little piece of it right there. That's the reinforcement to it. So we'll end up running these all the way across on this here underneath the roofing, and it'll, even on here. That's why I say you may see, like when we bring this on, you just get that little bit. But we're going to need to protect that. Even though there's not a sheet here, we'll still need to put a little piece right in here. And then these will go all the way across. It'll go all the way across. And then we'll also have another one coming down here like this to protect this, because we don't want this to interrupt or compromise the main roof. So we'll have one here. So we put them all over the perimeter, make sure it's all nice and tight and everything's well protected. So the other thing we'll do is once we get the roofing up, we're going to see what the decking's like. Once we see what the decking's like, regards make sure it's not rotted or anything, if it needs to be refastened. But we're taking the shoulder off because I always have concerns with wires that come up through the wall. They have a ferrule, and a ferrule is just a metal tube, and it's really hard. It's like a piece of pipe, and they cut it with like a tubing cutter, and it leaves a burr in the inside of that little ferrule. And when the wires come up, it compromises it. I've shown it on numerous videos. So that's why we're just trying to loosen it up and see if there's any wires in there. So this one here, the wires, they're probably way back inside there. That's what that tells me. There's no wires in here. So if anything, it's way inside there. Yeah. So they got some screws in here. We don't know how many, but we may end up going back refastening this one, possibly. More than likely, I think this is an aluminum frame. That's what it said on the other side, but I'd like to actually see it. But typically, you're not going to put these screws in a wood truss because they'll split it. But you can see right here how they screwed it all together like that. So we're going to investigate it a little bit. My goal is to make sure that we get everything as tight as possible so we don't go through this again. We don't want to do this again. That's once is enough, that's for sure. So then the roof system right here, well, this is just tan, but I've got 5 different colors. We've got dark bronze, we got brown, we've got the tan, we got a white, got a light gray, and actually got some patina green. I got a few different colors, so you know we try to complement the coach. This one's going to have white on it because the rest of this coach is white, so we're going to put white on this one. But we've done a couple. The bighorn, that was dark bronze. If you watch that video, that's a dark bronze one, and that came out looking real sharp. It looked real sharp. It complemented it real well. But I got to say, all the decking looks well from what I can see at this point, from what the little tears in here. So. Well, let's get this all ripped off, and then we'll come back and give you another overview of everything, of what we got going on. Well, the roof is off. We got some cleaner on here trying to loosen up all that butyl. from that Turnabond tape. So then we'll clean that off. It's just orange citrus peel stuff. It loosens up pretty good. But we did have a piece of decking right here that was rotted, so we replaced it. At least that's what we're doing right now. And then other than that, it looks like it may be pretty close to good to go. So that's what we're checking out. We got to get this down though. Okay, so we got some insulation underneath this. And then we had over there on this one, that board doesn't line up. So we'll have to address that afterwards. We're going to put this on and then we'll see how it does, and we'll cut a shim to fit it. Their framing doesn't line up properly. It's dropped down. But then we may end up redecking this, at least with a skin of some sort. We can staple over it. But this is an aluminum frame. You can see it's got some pretty good framing in there. You can see the trusses. That's wood just as a blocker going this way, but this looks like it's aluminum coming back this way. Well, actually, now that I look at it, you got this as aluminum, but right in there, in that corner, right here, that's wood. That looks like it is a wood truss. It looks like it. So the whole thing may not be. It may just be an aluminum skeletal frame, is what they call it. So the main members are aluminum, and then they fill in the blanks with wood. And that is probably what that is. So, because we got the aluminum there, we got the aluminum there, and then this is to the back side of the vent. So it looks like they put a wood truss in this. But look how far apart. I'm going to bring this camera back a little bit. These are one of the things I don't like about the way they put these together is on that screw there. So I'm at, that's like 17.5 inches. That's really too much of a space. This one over here is about a foot. So we're going to go back and put some more screws in this thing. We can put screws in this because it's aluminum frame. So we're going to put some more screws in that, and then and probably even staple where necessary. But we're going to get it tightened up a little better than what it is. And we're going to put another skin on this. I just want to make sure it's down really good. So right now he's just drilling out the plumbing over there. And you can see all this residue and everything. I just don't like it. I don't want to glue to that, you know. I don't want to glue to that residue. I don't want that residue to kind of interfere with possibly the glue not taking right. So I'm not even going to take a chance with it. We're going to, more likely, we're going to skin this over. And just with a piece of 1/8 inch, that'll be fine. We'll just staple it down. It'll be fine. And then hopefully we get a roof on this thing. That's the goal. So we got the awning all protected, we got the doors protected, we protect everything. We even got pads down in there if we ever have to get in. Always take our shoes off. Don't want all that getting into a coach. So we try to do our best to protect it. Sometimes there's just so much mess. And like I said, with this here, we're gonna end up cleaning this mess up here. All that is just it's just a citrus strip right there, see it? And what it does, it loosens up everything so you can wipe it all off. You just take a rag and you just kind of just take it right off like that. One on that shoulder. So, but you can see still some of it's right there, but it's really soft, and you can probably see how gooey it is now. So that's what we're working at. So, all right, well, let's get this cleaned up, and then we'll show you some more here in a little bit. Let's get to work. Now what we're going to do is skin it. We'll put a new skin on it. That's what we're doing. Getting it all fastened down. Okay, so now it is glue time. We got the roof all fastened down. Now we got the membrane here, and we're gonna glue her real good, and then we're gonna stuckify it. It'll get stuckified real good, and then bada bang, bada boom, we rock and roll with some curves. We already got this other side rolled out. Glued this is the passenger side, so you can see all the strips, protective strips we have here. So as soon as this cures out, flashes off is what it's really called. We'll roll it back over, and then we'll get the big heavy roller on it. And now we're going to roll out the roofing material. And then what we're going to do is get the roller on there, and we'll pack her down. Easy peasy. Now what we do is just use this balance roller. And then we're going to get that laid out, and then we'll come back with the big heavy roller and wash her down. That's the bigger roller right there. We just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Don't drop that. Back and forth. That's it. So the next thing, obviously cut out all the holes. Sorry for the blur there. Cut out all the holes for the vents, plumbing, all that stuff. And then bada bing, bada boom. We're ready to rock and roll. So far, we've got all our curbs in. So that's what I'm going around doing now, is welding them all in. Just welded these boots in. I welded that refrigerator vent in. And so we're going to get them all welded up. We'll get the AC on. Obviously get our caulking. So we got some tape down here and around there. So we're going to do all that. I'm going to go around these too. I don't like them. So we'll go around there. You can see like right there. So I'll go around all that. And then we'll get it all cleaned up. So we put the turn bar on. All on down the side. Okay. We got sealant behind here. We don't use butyl. You can see some of it popping out here. You can see some of it popping out there. And I want them to strike it all down. You can see like a lot of these screws, they got the caulking. When you twist the screw, the caulking draws up the head of the screw and leaves a grommet. That's what I like to see on every single one of these. This one has a washer on it. That must have been a rogue screw in the pile. You can see them right there, right there. Okay. There's some on that one too. It's just more faint, but you can see them all in there. So now I know all that's sealed underneath there. Everything's sealed. And then we'll go back in and we'll put the insert trim in there. And like I said, we've got to go around and weld all these together. And we've got plumbing right there. Got an antenna over there. And there isn't very much on this, but like I said, we'll go around and weld all this together. So that's where we're at so far. And probably the next clip we'll show, we'll probably be done with it, because like I said, once I get done with all this, this is the last thing to go on. You can see we got the vents on. And we got to put a couple of strikes around the vent. So we do the same thing and we load that all in there, the caulking. Once we load all that, it's all been primed. So once we get all that squared away, we'll go around and I'll put one strike and I'll wait and I'll go back and put another one on there. Everything's going to have 2 strikes on it, same down here. All going to have 2 strikes. My first strike, I'm going to want to get way down in that little crack. It's going to be a real small bead. That's just to guarantee me that that one is really sealed. So I cut the tip in a way where it's pushing more than dragging. I want it to kind of load in there. And then on the second one, I do the opposite, and I want it to kind of overlay it. When I do the second strike, I'll overlay all that. So, and I'll go over some of that too. So, but that's where we're at so far. So I already went around, I welded this one in. And then what you do, this is just a tool that you use for welding. It's got this checker tool on the end. You can see how that's stuck in there? That is welded to it. See it? That's how you check it. So you take the tool and just go along. So I'm going to get some more heat in there. Okay? And then we'll go along here and do the same thing. That's how you want to check it. So I'll get a little more heat in there. Okay? All this is all tight. All that's all tight. And some of it's just the makeup of the material, you know. That is just the way it is. So there's no way you could actually just run the heat gun down there and assume that everything's going to get all welded at the same time. Because you're talking about temperature differences, and you're also talking about the velocity of the gun, the heat of the gun, the angle of the gun. So that's why you always go around double check, and then you double check. So quadruple check. Once we get this done and we check all this and everything's done, we start assembling everything, we yet check it again before it leaves. It gets checked again. We make sure these welds are absolutely tight. So the same thing, I got to go around and do this. There's the plumbing, and on these plumbing, it just sits down in there. There's your plumbing, and it's all sealed. So now, if we'll put a bell cap on here, and if anything popped off, say a tree branch, because I mean, you look at the way this coach is, it wouldn't be unreasonable to think a tree branch could take that off. But if it did, all it's going to do is just lead down into a holding tank. That's it. So you're not going to get anything into the roof line. Can't get into the roof line. It's all in the plumbing. There's a coupler down inside there that connects everything together. So it's just not going to happen. So, all right. Onward and upward. All right, we're starting to wrap things up. We just got our logo welded on there. Look at that. Trying to get the tape off the ladder. We protect that. Now what we're doing is putting in this insert trim right here. And this is a different type of insert trim. It goes right in here. Here's your gutter. And here's the screws to it, right? This is going to cover the screws. It goes in there. So this is what they had. If you look at that, what they had, it snapped in like this. So what happens is water can still get down inside there, inside this track. It'll roll right down here, and get inside that track and then roll down here, right? Even on some of the other ones, if they have them down the side and the back, we don't use that. This, so I'll grab a piece of this. There we go. Thank you. This has a groove. See the grooves in there? So what it does is it sits in that track and over the track. It'll sit in and over. So it'll lock out all that water. Won't be able to get in. It's a little more expensive, but it's a much better product. So why not use it? And that's, like you said, that's what we're doing right now. We're just tucking this in, and then we'll seal it all up. We seal the ends. We load it all the way back here. It'll be loaded just because of the end there. In the same way here, we'll load it right in here, and then we'll obviously seal around the rest of it. But that's the way we'll put in this insert track. It's just a much better product. We are done. We've got our logo on there. Turn the camera around. We've got all that done. Everything's double caulked, sealed. Went down here. This got a little squirrely on us. I don't really like the way that caulking sat. Some areas sit better than others. So we did put the tape on there and everything. We got all that done. But when he brings it back, we may look at it again, see if we like it. But there's a couple little booger spots I just don't like. There's another one on the other side. But otherwise, everything else come out well. We got the antenna base on there. You can see everything's all heat welded on there. This is all heat welded in here. I think I showed you that if it pops off. That's just spring loaded. Or I'll take it out. It's ready to pop off. So if you did lose the cover, that would just go right into a holding tank. But this is all heat welded in here, not just this edge. The whole thing is all heat welded. And then there's a piece of counter flash that we put on there. So now when the water, if you get into a heavy storm and the water is just billowing across the roof, it's going to come up in here and it's going to get forced to go out this way or the other side. That's the whole purpose of it over on that one as well. All of them are like that. So, especially on the air conditioner, that's what makes a difference. Because even though we have the counter flash, the foam gasket, if I can get up in there, the foam gasket still sits on top. So if I didn't have this piece of counter flash on here, the water would come down this way, it would trickle across here and go into that foam gasket that's up underneath there. That's the purpose of this. It'll drip down, go below the counter flash that we have on the curb, and it'll roll out. So we've got our stands on here. Obviously the same vent right here, refrigerator. So everything else okay, but like I said, it looks a little squirrely like right in here. I just don't like that. I just don't like it. You can't see it from the ground, but that's beside the point. So this insert trim goes in and out. It snaps in and outside. I'll show you that on another clip. But it snaps, the old stuff I don't like. And I may have already showed you all that. I can't remember, but I'll show you again. And that's about it. So we're about ready to rock and roll. I tried to clean this up the best we could over this side. And then did the same for the radio. Mounted that, so that's nice and sealed. And this is a 60 mil commercial grade TPO. That's what this roof system is. 60 mil commercial grade TPO. Same product you're going to find on a office building, a library, restaurant. Same exact material and the same exact installation procedure. In fact, this roof, the way all these curbs are built, will actually pass commercial building code. So the other thing we did is we did go around the lights. I think I brought those up. We went around all the lights. We went around, even like here. I don't like that squirreliness in there. I just don't like it. So, but we cleaned it up the best we could for now. And like I said, when they come back for an inspection, we may even adjust it. Went across the top of the awning. We did the windows in the front. So, but that's it. It's about ready to roll. So, we appreciate you watching. If you got any questions, you can go to rvroofinstall.com. And if you're on your YouTube, you know there's a whole bunch of other videos on there you can watch. And if you have any questions, you can give us a call, 423-475-7663. We're located in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. It's just about 2 or 3 miles south of Chattanooga, Tennessee. We advertise in a lot of different areas because we specialize on roof systems. That's what we do day in and day out. We do roofs and rebuilds. So we actually can rebuild a roof system as well. Just to give you an idea, this is a lance over here that has failed. The whole roof is, and the ceiling. Ironically, this is another lance. Had the same problem. We rebuilt this whole entire roof, reframed it and everything. And that's what we're going to do to that and put a whole new ceiling in it as well. So just to give you an idea of some of the work we do. So, and you'll be able to watch them on the video pretty soon. Thanks for watching.